Ryan Abraham, Dan Weber, USCFootball.com instant analysis here at the Coliseum after USC's 27-9 victory over California. Lane Kiffin talked about wanting to dominate the line of scrimmage. Looked like USC did that with 200-yard rushers today in the game.
Right, 200-yard rushers. I know Silas Red was just talking about how grateful he was to Curtis McNeil for allowing him to be his teammate. He said he's a good man. Silas was just thrilled to death with he said, this is what I was hoping for when I came here. They gave all the credit to the offensive line. Lane couldn't talk enough about the difference in both lines when you consider, nearly 300 yards rushing for USC's offense, barely 75 for Cal, and 7 sacks for the USC defense as Morgan Breslin goes by there, who will never talk to all his teammates. Say, talk to Morgan. Morgan's the guy that don't talk to me, talk to Morgan. You say, we can't. Morgan won't talk to us, but he will go out there and play, and he can run as fast. I mean, I'm not sure there are a whole lot of tailbacks that for 10 yards can run any faster than Morgan. He's just amazing.
Those sacks came in bunches. It seemed like 3 or 4 of them came at a time. It seemed like the defensive line got in a little bit of a rhythm there.
Well, and Maynard is quick. You got quick, and they got quick tailbacks. And Bigelow, who ran so well against Ohio State, just was a non-factor pretty much. Basically that's a team that scored 4 touchdowns in Columbus last week.
Right.
Basically no touchdowns today. Yeah. So. However you look at it, very comparable in some ways to USC's 30-9 win that kind of got the season turned around last year up at Cal.
A very close score, actually. And then I want to talk about the offensive line a little bit. We did see Khalid Holmes end up starting on the offensive line. He went out. We saw Abe Markowitz actually start at left guard for Marcus Martin. They moved him to center when Khalid went down. We saw some Jeremy Galton. We saw Max Turek switching a little bit with Andre Walker. There was a lot of moving around the offensive line.
Right, it sure was. What I think Matt Barkley was talking about, he said the thing Khalid does really well in terms of calling calling the blocking schemes and all that. But he said what he really does, and this is what I like. He said he gets them into the huddle with the rhythm. He gets them up to the line of scrimmage. He's really good, and they kind of mope around a little bit and kind of walk around. But when Khaled's in there, he just gets them moving, gets them into a rhythm, gets them into a tempo. And I thought that was a really insightful comment by Matt to say he does that we might need as much as anything. When he gets us going. And Lane said, in answer to a question asked of him Wednesday, it really means it's a real difference when Khaled's in there.
Yeah.
As someone asked him Wednesday after practice.
I don't know who that was.
I can't imagine who that was.
We're moving around. One last thing, Dan. We talked about what did Matt Barkley say was kind of the difference between last week and this week?
Well, I think the difference was obviously they could run the ball, and they felt comfortable that if Cal wanted to stay in, as he called it, the same thing that Stanford was playing, although maybe not quite as tight, as a cover 2 shell where they just absolutely aren't going to let you throw the ball over them and just say, okay, see if you can run it. He said what you have to be able to do is you have to be able to run it. And he said tonight we could run it. If they were going to give that to us, we were going to be able to take it. Last week, Stanford gave that to us. We couldn't take it. This week we could. It means all the difference in the world. He says not as pretty, not as much fun, but if they're not going to let you do what you really, and as Lane said, this is the 4th straight team that have game planned all week to stop Robert and Marquise. He said that's all these teams are doing is figuring out how do we stop Robert and Marquise. So we have to be able to do, take that run and get it going, and they did today.
All right, Dan, thanks very much. Signing out here from the Coliseum, USC's 27-9 victory over California. You can check out USCFootball.com for more.